Grow your cleaning business, make more money, have more time. This is the Profit Cleaners Podcast with your hosts, Brandon Condry and Brandon Shane.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Profit Cleaners Podcast, the only place where you can learn from the top 1% of cleaning business owners from around the world to take it to the next level and win. And I'm your host, Brandon Shane. I've got Brandon Condry in the house. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about who, not what or how, and really, one of my favorite quotes from Jim Rohn is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You are the average of the people you surround yourself with, right? So ask yourself that question as we start this podcast, guys. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Not what, not how you're going to do it, not how you're going to get to this goal. Who? Who are the people in your life that are going to spur you on and make you better and help drive you to this goal? And let's just get into it, Brandon. I think there's a lot to unpack here, but it's essentially, I remember when we very first started this business, you and I met at the park. Our kids were playing. We were talking about starting businesses. We were shooting darts in your garage and over a beer and just being like, hey, what are we going to do? And we were talking about who. We were talking about who can we model? Who are the people? You were asking me at the time, like, what podcasts are you listening to, right? Who are you learning from? Who's pouring into you? And so this is where I think, a lot of entrepreneurs start is just by surrounding themselves with great people. And really what's the coolest thing I think ever is we live in one of the most amazing times in history where you can just turn on a podcast. You guys are listening to the podcast right now. You can listen to great minds, brilliant people, and you can learn so much, and you don't have to travel and be in an apprenticeship and travel halfway across the world, and you can just have it at your fingertips, guys. So we're going to talk about that and just a little bit more about who and how you can surround yourself with better people, and let's get into it, Brandon. So
yeah. I mean, a lot of this is like, we're gonna use the phrase like victim mindset, and I don't want you to react negatively to that. Like, the idea is that it's very easy to think this way. This is how I thought when Brandon and I met. Was, I was asking him, all of these things about which podcast you listen to and this, that, the other thing. But when we started the company and, things go rough, I'm looking for who to blame, like who can we take revenge on to like solve these problems? But it's not really the end. Like, I mean, what I think has shifted the most personally for me is really trying to relinquish thinking about things that I do not have control over. I do not have control over the election outside of one vote. I do not have control over the weather. Like, if it snows in the winter and we have to cancel a bunch of business, I can sit back and whine and moan about how we lost X amount of thousands of dollars because of a snow day, but I can't control that. So like, that is just wasted energy. So instead, the title of the episode is like thinking about who, but in my mind, in those situations, I am thinking about, all right, well, what are we doing tomorrow to like recoup from this issue? Like, how are we going to bounce back from the snow day, for instance? But a lot of people that we talk to, especially when they're brand new to like the Profit Cleaners thing, and we're talking to them, a lot of them are very upset about things that they do, like they're affecting their business, but they don't have any control over it. So you do not have control over the local regulations that state that minimum wage is this or the tax is that. You only have your vote in an election to determine taxes. That's it. So everything else is working inside of that framework and how to roll with it. And more importantly, how to find someone who already dealt with it.
Yeah, I love that. And that's really true, man. Like, I see a lot of people in the group. We have the big Facebook group you guys can join. You go to profitcleaners.com, just join the Facebook group. There's 10,000 people plus in there. And a lot of times people are in there and being like, hey, this happened again in the house, some type of complaint, or the client's complaining, or this thing bad happened, or it's really like focusing on things like Brandon said, you can't control. So instead, control the controllables, control the things that you are within your control, that, you know, you'll be a lot less stressed if you focus on those things first of all. But instead of focusing on those things, start asking different questions, right? Instead of saying, why did this happen this way? And how in the world am I going to make my business work? Like, those are disempowering questions versus asking more of the questions that are going to get you somewhere, which is like, who? The question of who, like who's already done this. So when I see people come in the group and they're like not focusing on like, how am I ever going to make this work? And this customer complained again, this went wrong. I see the people coming in the group and saying, hey guys, I want to grow. What are the things I need to grow? Who do I need to surround myself with to learn this knowledge from and model this into my business? And those are the people that are getting tremendous results, that are taking action, that are asking the right questions, that actually steer them in the right direction. And I want to share another quote with you guys from Tony Robbins that I love sharing with people on our coaching calls. And he says, if you want to be successful, find someone who has achieved the results you want and copy what they do, and you'll achieve the same results. And you'll achieve the same results. And this is my favorite part. You'll shave 10 years off your life. And so by finding the who, not always wondering like, what am I going to do, or how am I going to do it, or how am I going to figure this out, but who, right? Find the person that's already done it. If you're listening to this podcast, maybe we're some of those people for you guys. We're a few steps ahead. We've done what you want to do. Find those people and model what they're doing. Tony Robbins literally says, copy what they're doing. Don't be a pioneer, face down in the mud with arrows in your back. Follow in the footsteps of those gone before you, right? And so in doing so, instead of figuring it out on your own, making all your own mistakes, like a lot of people go out of business because they're trying to figure it all on their own. Instead of find something that's working, model it. Who's got what I need to work? Who's done this? Who's made it work before? Who can I copy and just like save 10 years of my life figuring it out, right? That's just so powerful.
Earlier you said that Tony Robbins quote was to shave 10 years off your life. That's not what he said, right?
I don't know.
Add 10 years to your life?
He shave 10 years off your life. Yeah. Like, so instead of spending like 10 years going at it, and this is a true story, guys, like our mentor told us, like, we basically did what he did in a couple years, what took him like 15 years to do. And I remember that story from like the early days, you know, but it's really like, you can take 5 or 10 or 20 years beating your head against the wall and learning from your own mistakes. But yeah, Tony Robbins, I kind of like put it together more. I think it's split up more, but he basically says, yeah, find someone who's doing what you want to do. They have the results, model what they're doing, copy what they're doing. And the end result is you compress time, right? You save like 10 years of your life by modeling.
So we're not cutting time off of your existence. We're adding to it because you saved 10 years by following in someone else's footsteps. And we're presenting this in a way that's like, this maybe sounds foreign to people, that you're going to ask who and do these things. But if you think about it as a business owner, you do this stuff in increments all the time. You don't know how to run ads. You call someone who knows how to run ads. You hire a marketing firm. You hire a social media manager sometimes. You don't know how to do bookkeeping or accounting or taxes. You hire a CPA for that. Like, you don't have to go it alone. If you go it alone struggling on how to file your own taxes, you're going to get audited and everything's going to be incorrect. So if you view it from that incremental standpoint, you constantly hire out things that you do not know. Landscaping, painting, plumbing, electricians, all those things you don't know. Could you figure out how to do it yourself? Yes, but that would definitely not save time and might save money, but it depends on how much you value your own time. So we're trying to get you guys to view things from someone has done it before you, and it's not patented knowledge here. Like, these things are out in the public. And one of my favorite things about doing this stuff in business is just that it's not a zero-sum game. If we talk you guys into doing something for your cleaning business that boosts it up and makes it better, it doesn't mean that our cleaning business got smaller. It just means that all the competition hopefully leveled up, and now we're all delivering a better product for the customer. And that means that the market as a whole increased, which is good for everybody. So sometimes people get really, really competitive when you're talking about doing these things, but it's not about beating the other guy necessarily. It's just about improvement. You're improving by involving someone else's knowledge that you don't have.
Absolutely. And it's a quote from Warren Buffett too. He says it's better to learn from other people's mistakes versus your own mistakes. And if he's probably one of the most wealthy guys in the world and he says that, I mean, I'm going to listen, right? I'm going to be like, there's something to that. And, you know, anytime you guys can think of your life, you've done something. For example, when I got into martial arts when I was, 8 years old, I learned from my grandmaster who also had from my he had a grandmaster from Korea, and like there's like this descendants of line of mentors, right? Like they learned from the greatest person who then they modeled that into the next phase, and like it's like a descending line of knowledge. And so if you guys can position yourselves in front of people that have already done what you want to do, you're already, like Brandon said, you're already doing it every day in your life already. It's just shifting your mindset of kind of like having some humility, right? And realizing like, hey, I could learn how to do all this stuff, but like, do I want to spend the next 10 years learning all these different things, becoming a marketing expert, becoming a cleaning expert, becoming a on and on and on? Or do I want to find the people who have done it, model what they've done, structure it how they've done it, so I can just go faster. I can accelerate my success, my time in getting there, and compress time. It's like an amazing thing. Like if your time really is your most valuable asset. And so, just like when you're selling cleaning services, you're compressing your client's time. That's why they're paying you. That's why they love the service, is because now they don't have to spend their weekend cleaning. You've just compressed that time for them. And so it's the same thing in your business. When you guys can surround yourself with great people that have gone before you, done it, now a lot of the guesswork's removed. Now it's actually a lot less risky, because you know what you're doing, right? And you've got a lot more clarity and confidence, which is like going to help you guys take way more action when you're just like, hey, if the Brandons did it this way, I could probably do some version of it this way and make it work and model it in what's working and save myself 5 years or 10 years of time trying to like Frankenstein it together on YouTube and figure it out on my own, which is what a lot of people do. But it's like, yeah, what's your time worth, right? What Brandon said. So
yeah. So I mean, this is kind of before I met Brandon and before I started a business, I was reading a lot of business books. I was listening to a lot of business podcasts, and this was the kind that I gravitated towards the most, where you just figure out how someone else does it. And Tim Ferriss has a really good book. He's got like Tribe of Mentors and Tools of Titans, I think, and they're both kind of similar, but you can pull up some highly successful person in these books and figure out what their morning routine is and like what are they doing that's different than what you're doing. And so all of that is not like I didn't steal anything from anyone. They freely shared that information. It's just that I'm going to incorporate that into my own personal routine and figure out what works best for me. This is not an all or nothing situation. Just because Brandon and I are teaching you guys about our cleaning business doesn't mean that you have to copy it to the letter, T to T to T. You can just take what works for you inside of your system, maybe just a little idea, and be like, cool, I'm going to run with that. And then that will lead you to a different place that you didn't know before, when you might have been struggling to figure out the answer to whatever question. That's kind of the idea, I think. It's a time-saving thing, but it endears you to other people that are doing the same thing. You're going to learn from people in the same boat. And then, if you end up working with us or joining our Facebook groups or anything like that, you can learn from those people like that every day. There are people in there. We've got a hilarious conversation on Facebook going right now about getting sprayed in the face by a bidet, which more than one person had dealt with inside the cleaning industry, which I thought was hilarious. So that's like a joke version of it. But like, if anything, that's a commiseration of, man, it's not just me that got sprayed in the face by a bidet. There are other people that have these same struggles. And then how do you deal with it? How do you deal with these situations? And so like those happen with bigger issues and tasks along the way, but it's fun, and I like dealing with other people, and you're learning from other people. It's overall just a very good experience, I think.
Yeah, that's hilarious, man. I didn't even see that one, but a lot of times as an entrepreneur, you feel like a lone wolf. You feel like nobody understands what I'm doing, nobody gets it. A lot of times people don't, right? Like if you're running a business, you're a very small subset of the population, like you think differently, and so it can get lonely sometimes. And I think what I've learned over the years is surrounding myself with other people that are doing this, you immediately have this huge boost of confidence. You immediately are like, wow, I'm not alone. There's other people that get this. I'm like I'm not weird. I'm not like, and then you start to realize, wow, I was stuck on this thing, but so and so just shifted a little bit of what they're doing, and now they're crushing it. And like, I could do the same thing. Like, I just didn't even think about that, right? So going back to that quote at the beginning, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. You know, Jim Rohn. That Jim Rohn, by the way, was Tony Robbins' mentor, and Tony Robbins like talks about a lot of the same things that Jim Rohn talks about, but it's essentially, you know, those guys hung out and learned a lot from each other. And we live in the most incredible time in history, I think, when you can just turn on your phone, turn on a podcast, and like hang out with Tim Ferriss or Profit Cleaners or Gary Vee or Ed Mylett or whoever the coaches are out there that are crushing it in business right now. You can go listen to the top people in the world. You can surround yourself with the most amazing minds to help you upgrade your mindset. This is really what this is about, guys, is upgrading your mind. Sports is like paralleled very, very much with entrepreneurship and business, because you have to, it's like 99% mental, right? If you have your mental game right, you're surrounding yourself with people that are amazing, that are pouring into you, listening to a podcast, reading a book, watching YouTube video, whatever it is. Like, you're filling yourself up so that you can pour into your teams, you can pour into your business, and you're surrounding yourself with greatness. And that's what's going to inspire you to take it to the next level. So instead of coming into the Facebook groups and being like, hey, what's going wrong? What am I doing? Surround yourself with people that are going to inspire you. Who's done this? Who can help me? Who can help me model where I want to get to in my life and my business? Find those people. If it's us, if it's other, I'm sure there's other mentors, obviously. Like Brandon and I have lots of mentors outside of just working with the Profit Cleaners. We have coaches, we have people that help us. We're in masterminds as well, because we understand that's kind of the secret. Like, if there's like any secret in business, there's a few of them, but I think having a mastermind, having a network of people that you can surround yourself with that can really up-level your thinking, you know, just change the whole game, change your strategy, change everything you're doing, because now you start thinking differently, and then everything changes. So it's like those incremental shifts Brandon was talking about, but it's like, if you're constantly learning, surrounding yourself with people doing it, you will start to shift the game. You will shift your thinking, and the results that got you here, what got you here isn't going to get you there. So you got to surround yourself with new knowledge, new concepts, new ideas to like spur you on and keep you inspired. And sometimes it's just like, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. Sometimes that's all it is like looking around and being like, dude, if that guy can do it, I can definitely do this. Like, and it just builds your confidence, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you guys aren't in a mastermind, we have a mastermind at the Profit Cleaners. Brandon, let's share with them what that mastermind looks like, and if people want to be part of it, I think it's a huge part of your success and helping you guys surround yourself with people doing it in this business, right?
Yeah, so you know, there's a couple ways to do it, but there's there's 2 Facebook groups that we have. There's one that has a lot of people in it, and then there's one that's a private one. So the private group you get access to after you buy into the Profit Cleaners sort of course, and that gets you access to the Hive Mind on Facebook, where you can learn about getting sprayed in the face by a bidet, but it also gets you access to these weekly coaching calls that Brandon and I do, and we bring on special guests for those. Like, we're having a recruiting specialist come on for the next one, you know, next week, but we've had finance people and payroll people, and so we're trying to teach you guys something that maybe you don't know that you can put into action right away. But then there's also like a Q&A session where we can just cover anything. Sometimes people go on the hot seat, which is like a classic mastermind, you know, thing where you can tell us publicly as a group, here's what I'm going through. Do you need help with anything? Do you just need to vent and tell us that this is what you're going through? And then, you know, we do events and things like that. Like, it's a whole ecosystem of thought leaders, really, like inside the cleaning space, that we want you to be a part of.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I like how you phrase that, the hive mind. It's really like that, the people you surround yourself, that hive mind of just upgrading your thinking and your mindset, reprogramming your brain for success. And like, wow, seeing other people do it, like, it's inspiring, it's possible. It raises your level of belief, suspends the disbelief that you had before. And again, it just, I think it's magic. I don't understand any other way to say it other than, like, anytime I've been in a mastermind, it's changed my life. It's helped me get so much more success, so much faster, take more action because I believe in what I'm doing more. And so that's what we put together for you guys. In our program, we do coaching, like Brandon said, every single week. We're adding more and more to that all the time. It's getting better as we get better ourselves. We make the training, the systems, everything better for our teams, and then we share that with you guys, and we all get better together. And that's the Tony Robbins quote, right? You guys can model that in your business. We're taking things in our other masterminds, we're modeling that into this business, right? So we're constantly modeling. We're shaving time off our life, compressing time, not shaving off the years, but we're compressing time, saving ourselves time. So that we're, honestly going to have that time back with doing stuff we really love, spending time with our kids, doing things that really matter. And that's why masterminds are key, guys. So, take advantage of them. If you're in business and you're not in a mastermind, you're not surrounding yourself with people. Again, stop asking, how am I going to do this? Or what am I going to do to get this? Who's going to help you and who's already doing it, so that you can just model that success in your business and compress time and save a whole lot of time figuring it out on your own or potentially failing. There's a lot of pitfalls in business. So yeah, I think the next steps, if you guys aren't in, like, jump into the mastermind with us. It's coaching, there's a program, there's mastermind. We're all doing it together. Where can they find that? Jump into that, Brandon.
Yes, that's profitcleaners.com/masterclass. That's where to start. And then, you'll be on the list after that, and we'll make sure to make contact with you. And then, maybe we'll see you at the Sandia Green Clean offices sometime in person rather. It's been a fun ride, and I enjoy talking to people about their businesses all the time.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I think the other side of that, Brandon just mentioned in person. That's the other aspect of this, is we do in-person events. And if you guys want to come meet us in person, see the operations real time, look under the hood, that is like super inspiring for a lot of people, because it just brings everything together. Like, especially if you're a visual learner, or like you like to just see things up close, like, it's super powerful. So every single person that's been to one of those, it's like changes their life, and they're like, this brought it all together for me. But again, that's the power of the mastermind. You see it for real. You're like, wow, this is what I thought I was overcomplicating in my head. I see other people doing it. I can model this. I got the people and the resources to help me. That's the who, and that's the mastermind, right? So jump into the mastermind, guys. Go watch the masterclass. That's the first step. profitcleaners.com/masterclass. Book a call with our team and jump in and ride the wave with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see you guys on the next episode. Keep it clean.
Thanks for joining us today. To get more info, including show notes, updates, trainings, and super cool free stuff, head over to profitcleaners.com. And remember, keep it clean.